Hello, BookTube. I'm here to talk about a book that I read for a book club. It's Roger's Cheap Book Club. I think that's the name of it. It's Roger of Vaughan Manor. Now, he's the literary devotee of Vaughan Manor, and he started a book club. And the first book to read is Anthony Hope's The Prisoner of Zenda, published in 1894. Well, it's the cheap book club because everything is in the public domain that Roger has chosen, and you can get it free off Project Gutenberg or elsewhere. However, this wasn't a free copy. I bought this a couple of years ago, and I wasn't sure I was going to do this book club, but I liked the titles that Roger had chosen. He made some good choices there, I think. Um, and I thought I'd reread most. I think all of them or most of them are rereads for me. So I thought I looked up this and then I realized, oh, I actually bought this. I bought it with some others from the Dover Thrift Editions a number of years ago. So I had to root around for it. And as always, it was on a pile and it was sitting like this. And then I just sort of decided to pull that pile apart and then realized what it was. So I read it the other day, and it was a fun reread. It's high adventure, romantic adventure, swashbuckling adventure, and romance in a with a capital R. There's romance, love romance as well, but there's romance of the adventure. Uh, and Anthony Hope is probably best known for this book, but he did write over 40 books, I believe. I've read a few of them, and I'm not sure if I've ever read the sequel to this as well. I have to look it up here because I keep forgetting. Um, Rupert of Hentzau was the sequel. I'm not sure if excuse me, I'm not sure if I've ever read it. But anyway, this was a fun read. It's about a redheaded, or as they say here in England, ginger, um, sort of a upper class ne'er do well, layabout Englishman who doesn't do anything. His sister and brother sort of nag at him, and so he decides to go to Ruritania, a fictional country in Europe. And it turns out that he's a splitting image of what's going to be the crowned king. And there's devilry afoot, or dastardly deeds with the king's to be brother, Black Stephen, because he's got black hair, and a black heart. And he gets drugged. That he drugs the king, or the king to be, and doesn't want him to, because if he doesn't get crowned on the day, then things fall apart, and he thinks that he can take over. But Rudolph Razendil steps in. They shave him, and he steps in and saves the day. And there's lots of swashbuckling going on, lots of fighting, swordplay, fist fighting, getting stabbed, and damsels in distress, and damsels saving. But it's something that he's sworn, he comes out of this wounded, but he comes out of it alive, and he's sworn to secrecy. He can't tell anybody anything. So he sort of has disappeared, and he went there to talk to collect information on the culture, the folklore, the flora and fauna of the region. And he doesn't do any of that. So his sister thinks, he's just a complete layabout, can't do anything. So it's a lot packed into this little story, and it set off a whole craze of what do they call it? Ruritanian mysteries? Not romances, I think. Ruritanian romances that started off. Anthony Hope was his full name was Anthony Hope Hawkins. He lived from 1863 to 1933, and he was knighted after in the First World War for his propaganda work in the First World War. And as I say, he's written about 40 books, all sort of this kind, mostly this kind of stuff that I'm familiar with anyway. And this was just a fun adventure read, a boy's own sort of adventure. Um, it was just fabulous. It was fabulous to revisit this. I don't know when I last read this, but it was so long ago that I just, you know, remembered a little bit about it. And I'd like to watch the movie again. I think Ronald Colman, or the original movie in the 30s, I think it was, Ronald Colman. And then it was redone in the 50s. And then I think it was redone again. It's been done on the radio several times. There's been plays. There's been a lot of adaptations. It's a very, very popular, or was, I should say. It's probably gone out of most people's consciousness these days, as sadly a lot of things are. So thank you, Roger, for bringing it back to my attention, and I had a great afternoon revisiting Ruritania. Thank you, and I look forward to next month. I still got to find the book, but it's Murray Leinster's The Forgotten Planet, and I've got a reprint of that somewhere. Hopefully I can find it in time. Anyway, take care, BookTube, and I'll see you next time via Roger's Book Club.